No, Andrew, I think we told you. Yeah, we told you on Friday. Reminder: we have our camp next week. Free PD
I thought it was 2 weeks because like most camps are, but
Bruh.
next
my
week.
bad. Sorry.
Came and gone.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, like
Yo.
I've taken full advantage of Marissa being on tour. I have done
he's
nothing.
he's deep into Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, I'm not as
He's in
deep
the depths,
anymore.
bro.
I mean,
Just
like, so I got
no communication.
no, dude. I went dark for like 3-4 days. I didn't talk to anybody. Um, I finished all of Tears of the Kingdom. I did all the shrines. I got all the light roots. I think I've gotten every enemy, like every mini boss underground. I spent like 2 days just like surveying the map, and I got good at like finding out where they may or may not be. So I'm going now back and I'm relabeling them because I was a dumb and use the same label for all of them. I have half the Sage's wills. I have most of the costumes and the outfits. So
So yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna talk about Bandcamp today, and I guess we could also talk about summer PD
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta talk
or
about
lack
Bandcamp because I
thereof.
missed it. I didn't go to it, so we have to talk about it
Yeah.
because I
So
wasn't
that
there.
one time at Bandcamp, we had to hang like every night.
Yeah. Pretty
we
much.
did like we did 2 nights at Casa, 2 nights with Los Pecados.
Oh man,
It
that
was
sounds
like,
awesome.
oh yeah, so we're paying the price the last few days. At least I know I am.
Well, I'm sure
Caitlin and
y'all
I.
feel like garbage.
Feeling better now, but yeah. Friday it was complete just recovery day. And then yesterday we were doing stuff around the house, but Kaylin was still feeling tired, so she took a break. She took a mental health. And now we're back functioning now. Had our coffee and everything, so but yeah, so Coral Springs Middle and West Glades Middle, we host a band camp every summer. It's the first full week after school gets out, and for 4 days because they don't let us use the building on Fridays. So whatever, and it goes from 9 to 4. And we have a band track and we have a strings track, and within each one, we have beginner and advanced. So we have four different things going on. Last year we had three: beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
So 6 different things.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all shared pretty much the same staff for the most part, but the numbers for each one was kind of slim. And so, like, if a kid went home because they got sick or could only be there for half the camp or something, it just made it even worse. So we combined the intermediate and advanced, and that made a huge difference in a good way. So I'm really glad we did that. Um, so yeah, we had beginners come up and they did a fitting for the first 3 hours of camp while the advanced kids were in rehearsal, and then basically alternated every 90 minutes from sectional to full band, so that when the advanced kids are in full band, the younger kids are in sectionals, and then they just swap. They did a 1 hour lunch. Lunch was included, and when we ended the camp with a concert, and it was a lot of fun, and
Dope.
also great fundraiser as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the kids had a great time.
nice. Yeah, we I used to do a camp back up with Eric Mendez when he was at Maitland every year, and I've been looking to start one on my own, just because like there's a in in Palm Beach County, there's the Palm Beach County Band Directors, or it's called Palm Beach County Band Camp, and it's run by a couple of retired band directors. It's kind of big. Like they've been doing it for like 20 years, and this year it's actually at Forest Hill. So because it's so close, I didn't want to start my camp this year because it would be going probably around the same time. But like down the road, there's like literally down the road, there's an established camp. So I just sent all my kids to that camp instead.
No, that's great.
Yeah, they have they do it like FSU style, where it's like there's 2 weeks of jazz camp, and then there's 2 weeks of like marching band leadership camp, and then there's like a 2 weeks of like a concert band camp. I think where they divide it in, there's a intermediate and advanced, middle school, and then intermediate and advanced high school, but there's no beginner opportunities.
No, the beginner track is really cool because if the kid sticks with that instrument, then they're off to a really great start, even if it's just 4 days,
Yeah, it's a crash course.
Yeah. I mean, they got about 4 days. They got about 4 weeks of instruction in 4 days. And
Right.
they come to, and if they stick with the instrument, they're already set and they can just keep practicing. It worked out really well for several of our kids this past school year. So it's super awesome. And then like, if, the other thing is they don't like their instrument, that's fine. It's not a life sentence, so at the end of the 4 days, forget about it. And then when school starts, try a new instrument. That's no big deal.
All right. I mean, well, what did you guys, what did y'all play for the advanced kids? For the veteran group.
We did have a pretty good setup.
Yeah, go ahead, AJ.
Well, Andy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Christian, but Andy sent over music to Christian and Kaylin beforehand, just to make sure that everything looked okay. He sent over 6 pieces, and we ended up pretty much playing 5 of those 6 pieces, which I think is a really good number. I think that the motto for the week was, have fun getting better. And I think that really helped the kids understand a lot of the techniques that we were trying to teach them, a lot of rehearsal strategies that we were trying to teach them. And I think overall it led to their success on those 5 pieces. I think the biggest thing that I took away from Dr. Andy, was just he kept saying to the kids, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. But by the end of the week, all the kids had felt confident. And he kept using this this rating system. He would just keep checking in with them, just hands up 1, 2, or 3. Show me 1, 2, or 3 how well you think you have a handle on this. And obviously at the beginning of the week, a lot of them were like, I don't know if I can play this. By the end of the week, almost all of them were like, yeah, we're good. And, even at the concert, they were a lot of mistakes, but that wasn't the point. It was just trying to play a lot of different music with a lot of different styles and to have fun. But they opened up the concert with, was it Byzantine, Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah. Yeah, so Byzantine Dances by Gilbert Chambers.
I love that piece. That piece is so cool.
Man, we were singing that all week.
With
that thing slaps.
I love that piece. I bought that piece this year.
Beat to that thing, and it'll be so good. And then they played, was it African folk dances or something? No, it was African
Festival.
Yeah. Who was that by? I forget who that was by. But that was...
dang it. It's not Clifton Williams. What was that guy's name? Quincy Hilliard.
Okay.
Okay.
That was deceivingly difficult for a lot of the kids because, they saw a lot of, just eighth notes and quarter rests.
Lots of syncopation.
But, yeah, a lot of syncopation and a lot of mixed entrances. So some students would start playing on 1, and it was in 3/4. So some students would play on 1, some students would start playing on 2.
That's action scene. African Festival was in 4/4.
Okay, I'm getting confused. Okay, but that was still African Festival was. I think they had a good time playing that, but there was a lot of syncopation in the main melody. But I'm pretty sure there was some alternating happening between the melodies.
There was a lot of call and response.
Yeah, that's what it was. So there was the main part of that was call and response.
Action Scene by Brian Balmages.
Yeah, so that brought up the next piece. Go ahead.
That one was tough. Yeah, that one was tough. There was like the pieces in 3/4, but some of the lines were like in 2/4 or 4/4, however you want to think about it.
I'm taking a look at it.
But very cool piece.
Yeah, and the kids enjoyed it, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, I can see how this might be a little weird to piece together. It's cool though,
bro. Andy was like, "Yeah, I did this with my 6th grade band this year," and I was like, "Okay, nice, sweet."
You didn't
bro.
have to mock them, but yeah.
Jesus.
I didn't mock him. I just do it as as a
Nice.
habit. I kind of just say the people's voices.
Oh my god.
That's bad. I love you, Andy. Anyways, we did action scene, and then after action scene, they did the it's Happy from
The
Pharrell Williams.
Pharrell, sir.
Pharrell.
Feral.
He's not a.
He's a Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, I'm like he's not like a raccoon.
Raccoon. Raccoon.
A raccoon.
Looking it up.
And so they did that
It's
one.
not a raccoon.
They
A raccoon. Sorry.
the biggest thing with that one was their inability to keep up with the tempo, or to keep the tempo up. So at one point he was like, "Let's not make this song titled Depressed and Sad.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep it happy." And then obviously the last piece, well, not obviously, but a lot of the kids, at least at Christian school, are obsessed with Shrek.
Oh god.
And they just had their banquet, and it was Shrek themed and everything. And their the last piece that they chose was All Star
Of course
from
it was.
Smash Mouth. So
And they did it last year, and
yeah,
he was like, you want to do this one again? I said, yeah, it's like camp tradition at this point. Even
Was
though
it the-
it's only our second camp.
Was
Yeah.
it the Conaway? the Conaway one?
I'm not sure which one.
Matt
it was.
Conway, yeah, I think it was. It's a really good arrangement.
Conaway, sir.
Is it okay. I think that was
Conway.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good arrangement. Spreads
really
the
good
melody
at it.
around.
Yeah, he's really good at arranging. His marching band stuff is top notch.
Yeah, it sounded really good, and the kids obviously enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a good time all around. And then, but before that, in the concert, the beginners pretty much did like a informants. So it's
sure.
like a very, very short version of what we would do in the fall.
In like October.
So I pretty much took the lead on that one. For the concert, we demonstrated our breathing exercises. We did the balloon. Obviously we did the in for 4, out for 4, and decreased our intake each time by a single beat. We did the balloon exercise. Then we did our small instruments to demonstrate tone production and making sure that we're getting the best possible sound before we put them on the instrument. Then we put them together. Before we put them together, we did articulation exercises on the small instruments first.
Right.
Then we put them together. Then we just played through the first 10 numbers in the book. We first demonstrated the first 5 notes. So if in Essential Elements it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Yep.
And we did that nonstop. And then we pretty much did the opposite, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then at the very end, the kids thought that they were done. I pretty much threw this at them. I surprised them. I was like, "Hey, we're gonna learn a new number live," and they
I
were
love
like,
that.
"Oh my god!" Like just going crazy. And they were just like looking around, like, "Oh my god, what?" And I was at one point before the concert started, I kind of told one of the bassoons, I was like, they were asking, just double checking what the order was. And I told them the order. And then at the very end, I was like, and then we're doing another number. And they're like, "What's the other number?" And I just stayed silent. "What's the other number? Mr. Arcia, what's the other number?"
Oh, yeah.
And we did the practice steps in front of the parents. And they learned the song. And I think it went pretty well. The kids did a really good job. So it's funny, like, just with those beginners, it doesn't matter where or when you are in the year, that classroom management thing is always present. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
with the beginner camp, they're still kind of 5th graders, so it's even. And with it
not
being
even
such a
we did have some incoming 7th graders too.
But even so,
But
it's
still,
it's a small group, and with that
we had
small group
we
environment,
had rising 4th and 5th graders in there.
Yeah.
that too.
But yeah, no, Andrew, definitely, and that's definitely how it was. I mean, going to the bathroom was such a big deal, and having their water. Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's like if they didn't get water right then, they were gonna shrivel up and die.
Yeah.
My favorite part of doing the camps with the beginners was always like whenever I was doing the camps with Mendez, I would always ask to do the first. I would always be like, I'd be like, you do the concert band the first day, so he would sight read with the groups through their music, and then I was like, I'll do the beginners for the first day, and I always liked having like the come to Jesus moment, like at the very beginning of the day of like, okay, this is how this is gonna work, like, and like still making it fun, and like and just being my most ridiculous self, but being
Right.
like just laying down the rules of like this will not be anarchy, or I will eat you. Are we good? And they're like, okay. It's like,
Yeah.
but no, I get it because like it's a small group, and because it's summer, so the kids are kind of mentally off. Number two, it's a small group, and when you have a small group, there's more room for more kids to talk
Right.
because otherwise it's just awkward. And number three, you've got you guys have rising 4th and 5th graders in there. Even rising 6th graders are still basically 5th graders, and rising 7th graders are 6th graders as they slowly turn to stone.
Yeah, we pretty much had 4 different age levels in there.
And that's going to create a whole there's no like consensus to the dynamic
Right.
of the group. They're all over the place. So I'm sure that was probably very interesting and challenging, but also really fun.
It was, and I think that the biggest thing that I took away was, just being consistent, making sure that everything is pretty much laid out for them as easy and as simply as possible. Repeating directions is going to be a big one going into next year. I can already see that.
Oh God.
And I'm not just saying like 2 or 3 times, like repeating directions multiple times. And it's not even because they're just incapable of paying attention when it comes to like sitting still, being quiet. The amount of times I've had to redirect kids was a lot. I had to redirect
Sure.
them, and but of course with any group there's always good ones and ones that we can get better with. So, but I think for the most part they all enjoyed it. They all had a great time. I think what really helped too was they were seeing their individual instrument clinician every single day.
Sure.
So that really helps out with the learning process. By the end of the week, the kids were pretty much playing, holding their instruments really, really well. There wasn't any kind of confusion about what the sound should be. I think that this was a really good opportunity, and I really do say if there's anyone that can take a kid to a beginning camp that has that opportunity to learn from not only like a large ensemble setting, but also the small ensemble, that would be really, really, really beneficial for them moving into their actual beginning band here. Because the kids that did this camp last year that came into my band, they're some of the best ones in my group, in beginning band.
Oh, sure.
And they have this sense of understanding that kind of takes them through the year, that their sense of learning is good. When they do pass-offs, it's pretty simple for them to do. They don't ask too many questions because, they have a really good foundation already. So, it's a really, really good thing. And I really liked, to see that process again.
Sure.
So
I think one of my favorite things, and I mean, this depends on the size of your program, but Mendez at Maitland, he had a concert band. So he had a wind ensemble, symphonic band, and concert band was like beginning band part 2 for the rising 7th graders who needed it. But what he also did was that if you were a beginner at his camp, then if you were comfortable, you were given the opportunity to skip straight to concert band because it's beginning band part 2. So it's like you already know how to read, you've already got your first 5 notes, you can already make a basic sound. Like you're going to be at the bottom of the section as a 6th grader in the 3rd band, but those kids always went on to be the 8th grade all-state kids because they were thrown directly into the throes of concert preparation and fundamental and legitimate fundamentals routines, and you know what I mean. So I think if that's an opportunity that you can do, it's worth it. I wouldn't necessarily throw those kids into a second band. Like if you only have a wind ensemble and a symphonic band, I wouldn't put those beginners in the intermediate band at all. Because he had 3 bands, I thought it was a really interesting opportunity. Like my buddy Ben Reese started that way. He started as a beginner in the camp and then went as a 6th grader straight to concert band. Totally.
Yeah,
totally
NIST does something similar to that. I think it's either he schedules them into a beginner class of just kids that went to camp, or he bumps them up to the 3rd band. I can't remember which one. I think it depends on numbers and things like that.
Because those are your kids that want to fly, and might as well let them. I get it. Makes sense to me.
I mean, if they come out of camp like that, yeah. Because I mean, we had some snot-nosed kids at camp that there's no way. Don't
sure.
even join band. Seriously, like you came to camp, you're done.
Oh gosh.
You're
at
done.
least they tried though. Mm-hmm. You always. I mean, you're always gonna have a group of 15. You're gonna have maybe 1 or 2, but that's a thing. Did you guys do theme days?
No, that was something that we had talked about last year, but our boosters kind of forgot about it. So
I love those stuff. We always did.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool to do.
Because the most fun day, and we do this at Marissa's band camp too, is dress like a staff member day. And so in my instance, you'll have a kid show up with marker all over their face because they draw this super thick beard. Last year a kid showed up. He drew marker all over his face, wore a Hawaiian shirt and skinny jeans, and I was like, yeah, that'll do it. But I think it'd be funny.
No, it definitely would.
Everyone dress up like Mr. Arcia Day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should definitely do that for next year. But
it was great.
Yeah.
I liked just coming in gym shorts and a Westglades t-shirt every day.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And Crocs. I wore Crocs all day.
You have Crocs?
I have 2 pairs of Crocs.
I did not know
He's
that.
got the Shrek Crocs.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
I mean, I didn't buy them myself. Students got
You
them
sure?
for me.
You're in a safe space. You can.
Hey, I would admit it.
No one will know. No one will know.
I'd admit it if I did it. I will say this: they're my bad. They're really comfortable.
Are they worth the hype?
They're really comfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just to kind of circle back. I think doing this camp too also gives me an opportunity to kind of be with Andy and observe him. And there's a lot of really great stuff. And I think we did talk about this last year, but the thing that I always take away from him is the consistency in what he says. Everything is just so incredibly consistent.
He's got his bag of tricks.
And yeah, and there's things that he will say that are just consistent. One thing that he keeps saying is, whenever you make a mistake, it's just always an opportunity to get better. Just make sure that it's getting better. Try not to be staying put in that one place. And I think the kids were kind of getting that as the week progressed. I was pretty much the resident percussion aide. I was back there just because we did have 12 percussionists back there for advanced band.
I mean, you were doing percussion. You picked up a flugelhorn. You picked up a trombone.
Yeah,
you were
you were the all points
hustling.
guy, all points dude.
Yeah, and that
self-appointed
really
all
help.
points.
Yeah, it really
Definitely.
does help out whoever's up there, and I'm pretty sure, and I know that Andy appreciated that, but it just helps his points get across a little bit better when there's another person there to keep those kids accountable in the rehearsal, and playing with them is a big deal too. They'll hear you play, not every time, but they'll hear you play like one time, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's how I'm supposed to play it." Not just like the notes and rhythms, but like the inflections, the like the articulation style, the slurs, everything.
Oh yeah, I
And
mean
you
that
just play it a
modeling is
couple times.
important because if you don't have
Yeah.
an alpha, then there's got to be an alpha at some point. How was
Yeah.
how was Garrett? You all right?
He was good. He was, he's just he's observing. I think that
Easing
that
into
was
the
his role
transition.
for this year.
He
So-
he did step in one day to teach tubas in the morning,
Yeah.
and then he stepped in and did beginner percussion. I think
Dope.
once or twice. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. He learned a lot. He asked a lot of questions. He took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
That's
he's
awesome.
he's excited. He's I had a chance to talk to him. When we were offloading equipment to my school after the camp was over, and he was just saying that he's really excited for the opportunity to just kind of take it and go.
Yeah.
He's a little intimidated, but I think that the biggest thing is he's just like that intimidation stems from like what to start with, what to go with first. So
Totally off topic. I was talking to a new teacher. She's taking over for a certain job in West Palm Beach. She was telling me how she was getting started for the year, and I bet money. I bet myself $10, which was the coolest transaction ever. That the first word she said was inventory, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm just going through all this inventory." I was like, "Ugh."
yeah,
Owe yourself $10.
Well, I think it's so funny because like I remember my first job, and the first thing I did was like check out the inventory. But I like going back and thinking about it. I'm like, that's like what's one of the least important things to do when you're first starting. Or rather, it's one of those things that can, other than the instruments that need to get sent out immediately, it's one of those things that like really can be an ongoing project throughout the year. And I always think it's funny when like I meet a new teacher and they're like, "Yeah, man, I just got to get in there and take that inventory." I'm just like, "But why though?" like why?
So they know. I mean, so they know what they have, and they know how to hand it out at the start of the year.
Yeah, I
the,
mean,
the only thing
think
that I
it's
can
funny
see with that is just they're doing that because a lot of the time, and I can say this in my case, there's a lot of instruments that I have at my school that are just old. Like they're really old and they're unusable. Like they're not even fixable at that point.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there, and so taking inventory of that, understanding what you have and what you need. I think that's important. It may not be the biggest thing, but it is I think top 5 what you need to do when you first get there.
I agree. I just
just
always think it's
decide.
funny because it's the first thing they say. Because for me, it's like because when she asked me, she was like, "What should I do?" I was like, "Take your inventory of take inventory of what you're going to hand out, what you think you're going to hand out the first day. Like, take inventory of your low brass, take inventory of your horns. If your kids are using your double reed instruments, take inventory of your double reeds, and take inventory of your percussion." But I was like, I was like, you should probably figure out your like. If you could figure out your like first 6 weeks of instruction, and like kind of like how we do with the curriculum map, of just like, if you can figure out how you want to pace it for at least the first 6 weeks, that'll save you a lot of time after school in terms of like on what projects you're racking your brain, so you're not necessarily having to do all of it at once. Because like, I remember being the first year teacher trying to do that on top of trying to do inventory, on top of trying to learn how to do a fundraiser and like all that stuff.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, you wanna get through all of that. That you want to understand as much of that as possible before you start. I mean, learning on the job is really tough. So, like, if you get the opportunity to get a roadmap from your predecessor, that's a big advantage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I think every teacher that's leaving should try and do if they can.
absolutely.
I think that it's part of the job too, right? Like part of the job is the whole leaving thing. Obviously, everyone has different situations, different, realities where something might have happened where you just want to get out of there.
But like, assuming you're leaving on amicable terms, you want to leave it better
Yeah,
than you found
assuming that it's a normal situation and quote unquote normal. I think that leaving something for the next person, for the sake of the students at the very least, needs to be a top priority. And Christian and Kaylin are doing that.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna start doing it just for myself. I'm I admit I'm a pretty forgetful person. So when it comes down to, the pacing from year to year, I want to make sure that I'm doing things consistently, and I want to make sure that I'm tweaking things where I need to based on the students that I have.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everything just kind of follows a form and it has a flow to it. All the things that I need to do are already written down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big one. So if you can kind of create, and even you can start whenever, like it doesn't have to be, like at the start of the year. If you have the start of the year, like we're in summer break right now, that would be great. Just,
Yep.
crank one out. But, even if it's like, I don't know, like October, March, whatever it is in the middle of the year, just open up a Google document and just start, writing down whatever you're doing that month. And then revisit it when you get back to there.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing again, or, how can you change it?
Oh yeah.
So
Are you guys speaking of things over summer? Other than your PDEs, are you guys doing anything? I know Christian, you're moving, but like,
Yeah.
is there like AJ? Are you doing any specific like prep for new projects or anything? Like I'm doing, I'm creating sight reading folders for the kids where I've bought 70 binders, and I'm gonna have like 10 flute binders and like 4 trumpet 1 and 4 trumpet 2 binders, 12 clarinet binders of like. I've basically printed out like 40 pieces of music. And that way we have sight reading material so we can sight read every day, but sight read either every day or every week, but not necessarily have to print out music constantly. Like
That's smart.
That's my big one. And I got the idea from, shout out to Tammy Rogan. You're awesome.
I know Richard Euler does that too. I think he has like 55 folders.
Yeah.
Or binders, rather.
Because like I did that this year. I had my associate, Brianna, she printed out so much music. Like we printed out almost every piece of those Anne McGinty and John Edmondson pieces, and it ended up eating so much paper. And I was like, what if we just did this all beforehand and then made permanent binders with like sheet protectors? And it's also, the pieces are also like different colored paper, so that way, if I see like a green sheet of paper, I'm like, whoa, hold up, where'd you get that? Like, because I know exactly where you got it, kind of thing, just in case things go missing. But that's my big project, is big sight reading folders, because one of my goals this year is literacy. Like AJ, you doing anything of that nature other than the workshop?
To be honest, no, because right now my main concern is getting back into our band room. I think that right now where I am is just, how can I make the beginning of the year as smooth as possible? Because it's looking like we're going to be back in the media center to start the year. So I'm kind of on survival mode when it comes to that, truthfully, where I need to try and find a way to make the beginning of the year as fun as possible. So I want to make sure that, we play a lot of games. We're doing a lot of icebreakers. We are playing some fun music at the start. And I just want to make sure that I'm coming up with different ways, so that way the students come in, they feel like band is fun. It's going to be fun. Oh, it's different. Oh, I like this. Okay, cool. And then, we'll get back into the band
location.
Room. Yeah, and
I get that.
If it were any different, I'd 100% be, going into doing different projects like that. But right now, it just seems like there's a lot of things that are going on that are out of my control. So we're just gonna do everything that we can that's in our control. So the sight reading folders are cool, but I think that we just got to focus on making band fun.
Well, yeah, your state of the triage is very different. So that makes total sense. And that's that's honestly totally fun because like I know that was Christian's big goal is like how fun can band be this year, and it was so fun that they had a Shrek themed banquet where Christian wore fruffs. I saw those pictures.
I look damn good too.
Yeah. Bro, you look
I
like
returned it though. By the way, I returned it.
Homeboy looked like Cast of Hamilton.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He is not going to give up his shot, especially if he's at Casa Tequila.
Yeah.
Honestly, Andy drank us under a table like every day.
Oh my God, bro, that man
Bro and ham
can put it down.
It's old Jen, bro.
Don't understand.
Old Jen. Those livers have calluses on them. Like they can't get harmed.
Well, I think he prepped himself like, 4 days in South Florida. That's vacation. So
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, sure.
For sure.
Yeah. You just got to be like, you sober up at 9 a.m. You start, through the warm up, start teaching. Really, you get into the meat of it around like 9:45.
Honestly, I didn't see the man drink an ounce of water. Like it was coffee or alcohol.
I was about to say you get dehydrated through lunch, have a Gatorade, and then make it to 4, and then go straight to the bar.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
No, minus the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Coffee and liquor.
Oh my God.
And impressions in ChatGPT.
Oh,
that was hilarious.
I finally downloaded it because I was trying to figure out what I like. Marissa and I want to do a Guardians of the Galaxy show for her marching band this year, and so but we couldn't figure out what pieces we wanted to do. So I asked ChatGPT, and it was a 7-paragraph description.
Yeah, it'll do that.
Of this marching band show. And
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I was like, dude, we're gonna get like as soon as that thing becomes sentient, we are so.
I think it's like fake AI, right? Like it's just like it's an amalgamation of.
Oh yeah, it's a supercomputer.
So much information that it just pulls from. It's like it kind of uses like an algorithm to pull like once it has like specific keywords. Yeah. I think the AI is just. It comes down to like the decision making. What do I pull? What do I, make? Because all ChatGPT is like it's basically 4 or 5 years of a bunch of people typing things out from random questions.
Oh yeah.
So it'll pull from all those things, and it sounds like a human because it was written by a human. All those things that we get, the answers are all pretty much the same, but. Yeah. Sorry. We were I think it was Wednesday night. We had gotten Los Pecados, and we were all at Christian and Kaylin's, and I had looked up on ChatGPT. I think Andy, he had heard of it, but he hadn't really understood it. And I looked. we were looking up different things. It was hilarious. Just some of the things that it would come up with in terms of the prompts that we used to. I think one of them was describe how to play a B-flat scale on the tuba in the style of Donald Trump.
I'm going to look that up right now.
It was impressive, to say the least. And then
describe
on top of that, I kind of have a good Trump impression. So I was
you have a pretty good Trump impression. You have the Trump rally voice,
Yeah, it's pretty solid. But I was
he's in court. He can't with you. Say it.
He was it was just talking about how like the B flat scale is the best.
It is the best scale. It is the scale.
It's the best scale. Believe me.
There's no other scale that can be played like this scale. We love it. Thank you, B flat 420.
Oh man. So
that's awesome.
That's pretty much how camp went. Just doing that, drinking, teaching, not at the same time.
This content is censored.
Kaylin, you need to save this for paid content, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Whenever that comes out.
Speaking of which,
Paid content.
speaking of things that are highly inappropriate, well, so you guys are going to SumCon next week. Christian and Kaylin are presenting.
Christian and Kaylin are what?
You guys are presenting, right?
Yes, on the first day in the
Yeah.
morning. And then she and I are actually with Josh Board. We're doing a full day of PD in Pinellas County. We're doing middle school, high school band and orchestra, and it's basically our FMEA presentation, but like thoroughly fleshed out.
Sure.
6 hours.
Is that for preschool or just for whatever?
I don't know. It's like July 11th and 10th and 11th or something. 11th and 12th. Michael Antman's doing the first day, and then we're doing the second day.
Oh, neat.
So that's pretty dope.
Yeah. Freaking July 12th is my birthday. But I'm turning 30.
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Oh, God. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for tuning in on this hilarious episode about a lot of things, and we talked about band a little bit.
That's one time at band camp.
Yeah.
That's right. Is that the name of the episode?
Sure.
Yeah, I bet. Fun. All right, y'all.
How could you not?
Peace out, y'all.
All right. See you guys.
Deuces.